Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and this is my first in a series of videos of how to make a website with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Um, so this first video, we're not going to actually necessarily build anything yet. We're going to just show you how to get set up. So basically by the end of this series of tutorials, we'll have set up our environment, learn how to use our tools, built a website using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and then have deployed it using Netlify. So basically, by the end of this series of videos, you will have a website that your friends can go watch and you can go show off. Pretty cool, right? Neat. So here's where we begin. First thing you need to do is get a couple programs. You need to get the Chrome browser. Chrome's going to make your life a lot easier. You'll see why. Also, since we're building a website, you need something to see your website in. You could put your website in. You could use Internet Explorer, but you won't have the same dev tools. You're going to want to use Chrome. Let's just say that. Google built a lot of cool bells and whistles to help you build your website into Chrome. Okay, so that's what we're going to be using to view our website. And a little background on an internet browser. An internet browser basically renders a website based on information that the website. So when I go to, let's say, alexmercedcoder.com, what's happening is that technically when I hit alexmercedcoder.com, it sends a request out into the internet, into the intertubes, the interwebs. And what it does, it looks up it's going to look in a directory of domain names called the domain name service, DNS. And the DNS is going to say, okay, alexmercedcoder.com, the information for what's on this website is located on this computer over here. Okay, so there's going to be like a CNAME or A name record, which is literally like your phone number in a phone book. Then go over here. You can call this number, you'll get in touch with alexmercedcoder.com. Okay, so that's why you see like it says like down here in the corner waiting for this and that, because it's connecting to all these servers and getting the information. And then what it sends back is what's called HTML. Now, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, the browser then takes that information and renders it into a website you can use. What I'm looking at now is not technically the HTML file, it's the result of the instructions of the HTML file. Okay, the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, these are static files. They're instructions we gave, and then we get to play with the result. Okay, that's going to be important later to understand that. Okay, so we'll understand how all this works and be able to make a pretty website like such. Okay, but that's that. So that's why we need Chrome. Now, you also need something to edit your website in. So you're going to want Sublime Text Editor. Okay, it's free. You can download it. Just look up Sublime Text Editor. It's built for doing this kind of thing. So nice color. It's going to do a bunch of things. It's going to make your life a lot easier. So basically, once you get Sublime Text Editor, just to kind of show you some of the features, create a new folder anywhere on your computer. Just a folder with 3 files. So you're going to create, and you can just do from that folder. You can just hit File, New File, and then Save As. Okay, you're going to create a file called index.css, that's your CSS file, index.html, that's your HTML file, and index.js, that's your JavaScript file. Okay, so you're going to create these 3 files in the same folder. Okay, right now they have nothing in them. Okay, and everything kind of keys off your index.html because that's what your browser gets. So when I go to a website, generally what it gets back is a index.html an HTML file, and that HTML file will tell it, okay, here's what's on my website. So always think HTML is sort of your content and the structure of your content. Okay, so this is going to have the content of my website, and then that HTML file is going to say, hey, you know what? I want my website to be pretty, so please take a look at this CSS file to see what the style of my website is. How does it look like? So is this text bold? Is it the background pink? All that information is going to be in your CSS file. And if there's any buttons, what happens when you click the button? So any kind of interactivity in the website will be defined in your JavaScript file. Okay, we probably won't get to JavaScript in the first few videos, but we will be probably doing HTML and CSS very heavily in the first couple of videos. But once you have these 3 files in the same folder, you need to set up your template. And Sublime makes this really easy for you because now that it knows that this is an HTML file because you saved it as an HTML file, you can just type in HTML and then hit tab, and it creates the boilerplate code for you. So sweet, your website's ready to go. Right now it doesn't have anything on it, but it's ready to go. So we'll hit save. And now you can go open up your folder. So here's my 3 files: index.css, index.html, index.javascript. I want to open up the index.html file. I'm going to right click it and I'm going to open it with Google Chrome. Okay, so now I can see it. Right now there's nothing on there because we haven't built anything yet. A couple things we want to do first. So first, just let me tell you a little bit about how this HTML file is set up. This top thing here tells you that it's an HTML file. And actually, you know what? I wonder if it'll give me an HTML5 if I do this. No. HTML. Fine. That works for me. Okay. But basically, this tells the browser what kind of document this is. So it's like, hey, it's an HTML document. And then your whole website is tied up in these HTML brackets. But basically, HTML is not so much a programming language more than it's a markup language. You're saying, okay, this content over here is treated this way, this content over here is treated this way. So we're saying anything in between this opening HTML tag. So this is where it begins and this is where it ends. So a closing tag always has the slash. Anything in between that is the website. Okay, and then in that, there are 2 very important tags. The head tag, anything inside the head tag you don't see on the website. That's just sort of like stuff the browser needs to know for your website to work. And then inside the head tag, there's a title tag. That's what you see in like this area in the browser. So let's see here, let's just type in our test website. We save that. And if we refresh this, see now instead of saying index.html here, it says test website. So that's what title does. That's all it does. Body is where your content of the website is. So if I just type in, well, cool trick is you can type in lorem, and then if I hit tab, it should just give me a bunch of filler text. Yep, perfect. Okay, so if you're just creating a template and you just need filler text, you can just always type in lorem, hit tab, and it just creates a bunch of gibberish for you. So now if I refresh the page, oh, I should probably save it first. Save. Okay, thank you, nag screen. Refresh. And then there's content. Okay, so there, we built a website technically. But right now, my HTML document has no idea that I have this index.js file and index.css file. So my recommendation always is, first thing out of the gate is make sure you connect those things. So to connect the CSS file, you're going to type in the word link and then hit tab. So that way it creates it for you, saves yourself some time. So what this means is like link the following style sheet. Okay, type CSS, and then the href is where do you find it? Since it's in the same folder, you're going to type in /, which means look in the same folder, index.css. Cool. Okay. And then below that, we're going to type in script. I think we just type in script. Yep. Type in script, tab, and there it creates your script tag. Okay. So it says, hey, script CSS. Technically, you could type in JavaScript in here, but it's not the best practice. It's always better to kind of have it in a separate file. Just makes your stuff more organized. So what you do instead is you're going to type in, you give it a source tag. And in source, once again, /, meaning it's in the same folder. And we're going to type in index.js. Okay. So now, and then one thing you want to make sure you add always at the end of your script tag, you want to add the word defer. Okay. You won't appreciate why, because I have already told you to do this, you'll never have the problem that you'll get when you don't do this. What happens is that as we get into later on in JavaScript, once you get into manipulating the actual stuff on the website, what happens is that when you put your script tag up here, because the way the browser reads your HTML file is from the top to the bottom. So what will happen is it'll see the script tag and run your script before anything on your website is actually rendered. So if your code refers to things on the website, it's going to error because the stuff doesn't exist yet. But if you add the keyword defer, it'll actually wait till the website's rendered and then run the code, which will just avoid all sorts of errors and heartache and avoid all sorts of other things that people used to do is that they would put the script tag at the bottom of the body. You can do that. This is just a better way of doing it, so that way you have all your links and stuff here. Another thing people do is if they're using something called jQuery, they would put all their code in this weird sort of empty function. You don't need to do that. Okay, as long as you put that word defer right there in the script tag, you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so technically now you have your setup. And honestly, what would be a good idea is to save it as it is right now. Actually, let's just, and then make a copy of it. So that way, make a copy of the folder. So that way, every time you want to start a new website, all you have to do is just copy this folder, and all your files are already linked. You don't have to worry about it. It's set to go. Okay. You already have sort of your boilerplate all set up. But just to kind of show you how this stuff kind of works, okay, we'll get into it more later. So the CSS file will define how I want things on the website shown. Right now we don't have many tags or anything on the website. We just have the one body tag. So what we'll do is we'll change the body tag. So you would type in body, meaning the body tag, and then I would put the style in curly brackets. Okay. Now, if I wanted to make, and there's all sorts of different CSS tags. Okay, you're never going to memorize all of them. You know, the best thing to do is just you look them up as you need to. So there's a great website, W3 School. So if you go to, let's see here, W3 CSS. Okay, here you can look up all the different CSS tags as you need them. So if you need to make something bold, you need to make something whatever, you can find what you need. Okay, we'll come back to that. But the point is, the main point of learning isn't to memorize every tag, every command, everything. You're not going to memorize it all. The main thing is to develop a workflow, and two, to understand what you're looking for when you don't know how to do something, to understand sort of, okay, I understand how this stuff works enough that I know what I'm looking for. I know I'm looking for a CSS tag. Let me go look for it. I know I need a JavaScript command. Let me go look for it. Okay, that's really what it comes down to. Is a good programmer. A good programmer is someone who can understand how this stuff works together enough that they can figure it out. Okay? So the point, my goal here is not to teach you and make you a master, but to teach you enough that you can figure it out and take yourself further. But just to show you how CSS works, you would put in CSS tags in these curly brackets. So I would type in, let's say, text, and see here, and the great thing about these text editors is it'll try to fill it in for you. So here you can see a lot of them. I'm going to use text, well, let's do text align first. So that's going to be so I can center it or anything. Okay, so let's make it center. Then you just put a semicolon saying that you've finished that command, and I save it. And again, my index.html is linked to that CSS. So in that case, it's going to know anything that's wrapped in the body tag should be centered. And if I refresh, it's centered now. Neat. Okay. And now let's say the index.js page. So one thing I could do is if I want to make a pop-up alert, I can type in alert, parentheses, and say, hey, this is a pop-up. Semicolon, save. And that's going to run the minute I run the website because it's automatically going to read that JS file and just run it. So watch what happens. Boop. Well, first, let's get rid of that. Translate. Why does it keep asking me to translate this page? Oh, because it's in Lorem with some. Alert. Let me think about that. Did I write that right? Alert. This is a pop-up. That all looks good to me. Well, let me change this stuff into English. So it's Lorem Ipsum, so it stops asking me to translate. That might be the problem. Okay. I'll just say Alex Merced is cool. Save. Okay, so it's centered. CSS is working. Something is funky with the JS file. So let's examine that. Okay, text JavaScript, index.js. That all looks good. Boop, boop, boop. a good way in the way, something you should always do to test that you're in that. Oh, okay, so I see there's other stuff here. That's why this is not working, because I didn't realize this other code was up here from a previous thing I did. So let's clear that out. But actually, I'm going to show you something else, because I want to show you some other tools that are in here. Okay, Chrome comes with what's called the developer tools. So you hit Control-Shift-I, and it's going to bring up this toolkit over here. Now what I want to do is bring up the console. So that's clicking it right there. And then over here, this is your console, and this is the website. I should probably dock this a little bit differently. Let me see here. Dock side, let's dock this on the bottom. There we go, that's better. Okay, so what I'm going to do is let's create that. So we're going to write console. That means this referring to this thing. And I want to log this is working. So I'll save that, and then I'll run the code again. And see, it's working. That means, so this is a good way to test things. When we get to JavaScript later, this is a good way to test your JavaScript without it being somewhere where the person who's looking at your website can see it. So this is another reason why I want you to have Chrome available, because you have a lot of really cool tools here. And over here, I can see what all my HTML elements, let me just close out the console there. So I can see over here, this is the layout of my website. Okay. And then there's just a bunch of other cool tools, depending on what you're doing. But mainly we're going to be using these two tabs. Okay. But that's essentially how you set up your environment, and just a little bit about each of these tools. We'll get more into what the specific tags, building out a website, and all that stuff over the next several videos. But I'll see you guys later on. Have a great day and enjoy.